Okay, I heard about this case 2 weeks ago. A girl was having back pains for over a day, and her family finally decided to take her to the hospital. The hospital uh, doctors and nurses noticed signs that she could be pregnant, but she kept saying no, she's never had sex before. This is a 19-year-old girl in, I believe, college right now, or she just graduated high school. There were pictures of her doing her cheerleading stuff. You can see a noticeable bump on her belly. Her belly was a bump. Her and her boyfriend have been together for over 2 years. And it seems like her family was oblivious to the fact she was pregnant. Now, in the hospital could not treat her for pregnancy because you are not allowed to just, as a doctor or a nurse, just do what you think is best. You have to listen to the patient. The patient is conscious, and she's telling you, no, there is no possible way she could be pregnant. She's never had sex. As time went on in the hospital, like an hour or whatever, I don't remember the exact time, there is actual video footage of her running to the restroom, holding her butt. She locked herself in the bathroom, and eventually they had to get maintenance to unlock the door and get into her. It looked like a massacre scene in the bathroom. Blood all over the walls, squirts of blood here and there, everywhere. But there was no baby. As they were cleaning up the bathroom, they told someone to take the garbage out of the bathroom, the garbage bag. When this person lifted up the garbage, they could tell there was a significant weight difference in what it looked like there was in the garbage and what it usually feels like when you lift the bag out of the garbage. They searched the garbage and they found a full term newborn baby boy. He was dead. The maintenance team went to the doctors and nurses and told them, and they confronted this girl. After a little while of saying no, 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 she finally came out with, yes, but it wasn't breathing. It wasn't making noise. That's what she said. Autopsy revealed that it did take a breath, and they're claiming the cause of death was asphyxiate. Bleh. It was smothered to death, basically. And I believe that was by the neck. Now, they did not find the placenta. It's not in the girl, and it wasn't in the garbage. The doctors and nurses think that all that blood all over the walls, squirting and whatever, was this girl ripping the placenta apart and flushing it down the toilet bowl. After an investigation and tons of interference from her mother, The girl was arrested for murdering her baby or disposing of her baby, something. She was arrested. And like I said, the autopsy shows it took a breath of air. But what the defense is trying to say is that, when the hospital people found the baby, they tried to perform CPR, and that's why it looks like the baby was breathing. There was also morphine found in the infant's system. Well, the girl had tons of pain. They gave her painkillers. Going by what she said, she definitely was not pregnant. Now they want to claim hospital negligence for what happened to this girl's baby, and so she should not be prosecuted for this. Now, you might say, well, giving birth it was a public bathroom in the hospital. And what I mean by public, anyone could have used it if they were there. How did no one hear her scream? She didn't scream. She locked herself in the bathroom. She had the baby, and it appears she tore apart the placenta, flushed it down the toilet bowl, and killed her baby. But her defense wants to say, no, it was hospital negligence. This is from Court TV. Let's watch the video.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And it just seems in the past several weeks, we've had a series of stories that are very unusual and very confusing. And this hour will be no exception to that. One of the stories involves a young woman, who's 19 years old, goes to the hospital complaining of back pain. She goes there with her mom. She's in labor, delivers the child in the bathroom, leaves the child in the bathroom, in plastic, in the trash. She's now charged with murder. Take a listen here, because police responded. Body cams are rolling, and you get to see some of the statements and reactions like in real time. Let's take a look.
We did a pregnancy test on her, showed positive. She was denying that she had sex. Then she said she had to go to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. She was in there for quite a while. We kept knocking on the door. Finally, we got her to open the door, and there was blood everywhere. She was cleaning it up. She had taken it and put it in the regular trash, and there's still trash all around the baby. She put it right in the trash can. Then she twisted it and wrapped it underneath him, and then set the baby in the bottom. Then she put paper towels on top, and then 2 wadded up trash cans or liners. They were clean on top of that, and then she placed a brand new clean liner in the trash can like it was ready to take trash. When they looked in there, there was no trash in there, but it was underneath the clean bag. The baby's dead. Okay, we have him in trauma too, but she killed the kid. Cold and blue already. His temperature was like 95. No signs of life, no breathing, no respirations, no heartbeat, nothing, no movement whatsoever.
So she's charged with murder. So a big part of the case will be the autopsy and toxicology results. Let's take a look. Cause of death: asphyxia, suffocation, strangulation, manner of death, homicide, how the injury occurred, tied in a plastic bag. Then the important toxicology results: caffeine presumed positive, morphine free, 19 nanograms per milliliter, phentermine 420 nanograms per milliliter. So what exactly do these results mean for the defense? Joining me right now in Ruidoso, New Mexico. Alexee Trevizo's defense attorney. He's back with us tonight, Gary Mitchell. Gary, thanks so much for joining us again tonight. Autopsy results are out. Toxicology is out. What does it mean to you?
Well, it means that this child didn't die like everybody thinks, and the child wasn't killed by my client. That's what that means. And at the end of the day, we know that there's a major issue with the autopsy and the way they claim that this child died of suffocation. That's not correct. We also know that the hospital committed a major wrong in giving my client morphine for a lengthy period of time, well over.
Yes, but she said there was no chance she was pregnant. She has never had sex. So she's complaining of severe pains. What do? They can only go by what she said.
For an hour, almost an hour and a half. And we know that the baby had morphine in it as well, which suppressed breathing. So there are many, many issues. We also know this child had certain
This is the woman, the girl who ran in there. This is her mother looking for her.
bacteria that they found at the autopsy, including E. coli, which can cause major problems for a baby. Or
the baby was thrown in the trash. What else could have been in that trash?
Elderly people. We also know that she was positive for COVID and influenza A and B. So we had a very sick child. And we also know that from other forensic pathologists that the type of tests run by the lab, by the Office of the Medical Investigator in New Mexico, are not classically used. So we had major issues in that regard. And then we've learned that some of the things that the hospital has been saying are incorrect. She never, for example, she never told them that she was a virgin. She never told them that she didn't have sex. Things of that particular nature. So there's a lot.
There's video of what she was telling the hospital. I believe it's the police body cam footage. Hopefully they get into that.
At what point, because we bring it back to the fact that she goes to the bathroom to deliver this child, at what point did the hospital know she was pregnant? At what point did she know she was pregnant?
They knew she was pregnant at 12:51, 51 minutes after.
No, they believed she was pregnant. This was after they had already given her treatment for back pain and all this other stuff, because they kept asking her, "Are you sure you can't be pregnant?" And she kept lying to them.
To midnight. They did not tell her. She did not know she was pregnant until she had the baby at 1:39, 1:40 in the bathroom. That's when she first learned that she was giving birth.
But she did not call for help. She had locked the door when she first went in there. When her mother was knocking on the door, she didn't call out to her mom, "I need help, get the doctors, I've had a baby." She tried to hide everything. And this hospital that she was at is the kind of hospital you can drop a baby off there, no questions asked. They will take care of it, give it to the authorities, it'll go up for adoption, all this other stuff.
So the hospital knew for 46 minutes that she was pregnant. They didn't tell her. They let her go to the bathroom, and we know that a woman giving birth.
How would they not allow her to go to the bathroom with all the stuff she was saying? Plus, her mother was there opening up her big mouth. This is a 19-year-old. She is of age. But you've got a girl who's upset and in pain. You've got the mother saying, do something, do something, do something. But if you're not being given the accurate information, what are you supposed to do? It's like somebody saying, man, I've got such a headache. And they're like, okay, here's some Tylenol or Advil. And they're like, okay, I'm going to muddle through the day. And then an hour later or something, they're dead because it was a brain aneurysm. You don't know. She wasn't allowing invasive tests and whatever to say, okay, check me, prove I'm not pregnant. No, I'm not pregnant. I've never had sex. But. She did say this. And I hope they show it here.
Birth, particularly a teenager, may feel that they simply have to go to the bathroom. You use the same or similar muscles in that regard. We also know that they continue to give her not only morphine, but 5 other different drugs, 4 of which are contraindicated for birth for a fetus. So the hospital.
Is that the only use for that medicine? I've been told for my disease, Humira has helped. But Humira is an arthritis medication. Viagra, that started out as a heart medication. But when everyone saw the side effect, which was an erect penis for an hour or more, they use it for other things now. They use it for that. And again, it's like if I go to the hospital and I say, I'm having a headache, I'm having a headache, I'm having a headache. They're treating the headache, but yet I'm really having stomach pains, giving birth, giving whatever. They can only go by what I'm telling them and what I'm allowing them to do. If I don't want them to do a specific exam, I'm awake, I'm conscious. My mother is there shooting off her mouth. They're going to listen because they don't want to get sued. And if this goes through and she's found not guilty, they're going to sue that hospital. It's inevitable.
The hospital knew all of this. They didn't stop. And not only that, they unhooked her from the IV and allowed her to go to the bathroom, knowing that she was pregnant at the time. A cardinal sin in the emergency room.
Wasn't it a cardinal sin that she had sex before marriage? Wasn't it a cardinal sin that she hid the pregnancy? Wasn't it a cardinal sin that she gave birth in the bathroom and ripped apart the placenta, wrapped the baby up in plastic bags, put it in the garbage bin, and then put stuff on top of it so he wouldn't be seen? Are those not sins too? Those are things that are also against the law. True, it's man's law, not God's law, but, this is what it is.
So what is the status of the case right now? These results are relatively new. It wasn't known the last time we spoke, at least. So Are there conversations going back and forth with prosecutors, or are we just on the track of this thing moving towards a trial?
We're on the track of this moving toward a trial. We're in the investigatory stage. At least I am. I'm getting my experts, giving them all the materials. Obviously, you know from my conversation with you that I've already talked to certain experts, and I have a lot of information about the case. Plus, the trial is not set until next year. We know that the trial date that was set in the fall is going to be moved. And I'm preparing motions regarding everything from changes of venue to the misuse of privileged materials to a motion to suppress certain statements and things of that.
Suppress certain statements? Like what? That she said she never had sex before? In another video, people were saying that she probably hid the pregnancy because of her parents, because of how strict they were. Okay. Maybe if there was a little more strictness from parents, kids wouldn't be the fuckwads they are today. And it's not all, but it is a lot of them. You know, kids hid this kind of stuff from their parents all the time in the past. They were also sent off to nunneries to have the baby. It would be put up for adoption. So it's always been something that was hidden. It's only nowadays it's not, but there are still parents who don't want this for their kids, and maybe she thought hiding it would be the best thing to do. She didn't notice for how many months she didn't have her period. Okay. Maybe she had a condition that even before this, she never had a regular period. Okay, she was gaining weight. Well, people's weight can fluctuate depending on what's going on. But the picture I saw of her, it wasn't her whole body that was gaining weight. It was just her belly, and it had a pregnancy bump. The school didn't say anything. Her friends didn't say anything. Her family didn't say anything. You know? And she didn't feel or see the baby moving at any time. I can understand if she was carrying towards the back. There are times women will carry babies towards the back, and you honestly think these women are thin. But then they give birth. But that's not what was happening here. You could see a noticeable baby bump.
That particular nature.
And final question here tonight. Alexee, your client, she's not behind bars, right? She's released and being monitored. What's her status tonight, and how would you describe her state of mind right now?
Well, first of all, she's just graduated high school. She stays alone, with the exception of her parents, and she doesn't go out. She stays.
Yeah, those parents are making sure they keep that boyfriend away from her.
And other than visiting a sister or relatives that may come by, she doesn't see any friends. She has no physical contact with her boyfriend, the father of the child. She talks to me, and she's in some counseling as ordered by the court.
All right, Gary.
But other than that, lives a very stoic life.
Yeah. Gary Mitchell, representing Alexee Trevizo. We appreciate your time tonight, Gary, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
We shall. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, let's bring in our think tank. Joining us live in studio tonight, criminal defense attorney, entertainment attorney, former state attorney in Florida, and former assistant DA in Atlanta, Daryl Cohen. Also with us, criminal defense attorneys Marsha Mignon, and finally, criminal defense attorney, the man behind the glasses, Josh Schiffer. And the glasses, Marsha, did you guys set this up ahead of time?
We tried.
It's a long-time plan.
All right.
We're working on
They're
this.
going to do battle with you, Daryl.
Trendsetters.
Yeah. All right. Daryl, the corner of my eye, I'm doing the interview here, corner of my eye, Daryl's making faces throughout this interview. What are your thoughts about this case?
Well, my first thoughts are, I don't think that infant was able to walk from the hospital room bed to the bathroom and jump into the trash can and surround itself with plastic and suffocate. I think her lawyer is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's doing a good job, but he doesn't have the evidence. He may be saying that they made mistakes. This woman sadly killed her child. Whether or not it's murder, as far as
That's what she's charged with.
Well, she's charged with murder, and she actually killed her child, in my view, based on the evidence I see. But having said that, I think ultimately this will end up being a plea, her getting a lot of counseling and a lot of help, because it's an unusual murder. It's terrible, but it's unusual.
Marsha?
I disagree. I think the hospital
See,
has,
everyone that sits in that seat usually disagrees with Daryl.
It's a given.
it's the
And
disagree
this
seat.
seat
Yeah.
and that seat, all those seats. It's not
The
hard.
only reason I disagree is because I know that a lot of times it's difficult to understand how at such a young age she could not know that she's pregnant. It's happened to women even older than she is that say, I didn't even know I was pregnant until I got to the hospital. My concern is that the hospital, based on the information from her attorney, had all the knowledge prior to her, assuming arguendo that's true, that she was pregnant. And if
How did the hospital have all that knowledge when she wasn't providing it? It could be possible the test results came in and the doctors don't just take care of one patient, they take care of several. So they could have been taking care of one or two other patients, and the test results were just sitting there until the doctor was ready to come by and check them. There is no way to give just one person, one patient, preferential treatment. And they need to get that video footage of her saying, I've never had sex. Because they're saying, oh, she never said that. Get that footage.
that's the case, there's a whole lot of negligence to go around.
But that doesn't stop. A murder, negligence is one thing. Murder, the actual act of killing your child, is still a murder.
Well,
Negligence or not.
assuming the child wasn't killed by morphine, assuming the child wasn't killed by all the medications that they were pumping her with when she got to the hospital and said, I have back pain. And if you're pumping her with medication, knowing that
She refused pregnancy tests. There is a video out there. She refused it. So it doesn't matter how much you believe something is going on. If you don't have the proof and the patient is not forthcoming, she knew when that baby came out of her, there was a baby. Why did she wrap it up and throw it in the trash? And where's her placenta? What did she do with it? Keep that in mind. Why did she wrap the baby up in plastic and put it in the trash? And where's the placenta?
pregnant, then there might have been a murder, but it was committed by the hospital.
Oh,
And really,
oh,
yeah, I'm going to follow up on that because really, I've dealt with hospitals. I've been deeply involved with one and or more pregnancies.
You've been pregnant?
No, but I've contributed. One of the issues is you don't just go to the hospital and get some morphine. They check into you before they start pumping you up with the good stuff. You also don't really get treated as a woman without pregnancy tests coming out really quickly. It's one of the first things doctors do. So I'm really interested to hear about what the hospital did and clearly didn't do. But I agree with Daryl. There's some serious mental health issues involved with this. I find it very difficult to conceive not realizing you're pregnant. And then there's some untruths being shared.
Let's do this.
Here.
Let's watch together. Alexee, this again is on the body cam. This is her reaction in the moment. Now her mom's in there, the doctor's in there, and obviously officer with a body cam. Let's watch.
I'm sorry. It came out and he meant to know.
Alexee, I told you about this.
But it
I
was
just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
scary. It was not crying or nothing.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What?
Nothing,
9 months?
nothing was crying.
Let's see. Have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
Nothing was crying.
It's difficult. Let me show you one more piece of evidence, okay? That may be used in this case. I don't know. This is from Yvonne the Plug on TikTok. This is a still frame from a video. That's her. She's still cheerleading. She's still cheerleading. That's her right in the middle. Many that we've had in the newsroom have said, yeah, that looks like a baby bump.
It kind of smacks. Are you kidding me with the pregnancy unknowing? And really, your body's your body. I find it difficult, even though I admit it's been reported before.
But we think she was on diet pills too.
Yeah, women have been able to be pregnant, and I've never been pregnant, but I'm sure that you can miss some things. But it's so hard to believe.
So you're going to take my word for it?
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. It's so hard to believe. You're missing something that happens pretty regularly for a number of months. And clearly, that young lady is terrified of talking to her mom about this.
And then she runs to the bathroom and gives birth, and then, please. I mean, there's negligence, I agree, but there's mental health issues galore.
Well, if she's got mental health issues, then you've just taken away her intent in murder.
There you go.
No. Mental health issues does not mean you've taken away her intent.
Exactly. Jeffrey Dahmer was insane for the stuff he did. But he tried to cover it up. He knew what he was doing was wrong. That means he was sane. You can't use it one way for one person and then another way for another.
Just means she has mental health
Well,
issues.
now her defense would be
Well, I think the defense, it looks like it's leaning on that this was a stillborn child.
Mm-hmm.
Stillborn child. So that's a bad.
It wasn't stillborn if it took a breath.
Of the experts inside the courtroom.
Did I not hear she said the baby was crying?
No,
she
said that
nothing
wasn't
was crying.
Oh.
Nothing was crying.
But it's the lying and the purposeful, willful blindness.
So how important is the issue of whether or not she knew she was pregnant?
critical in a murder case
Yeah.
because you have to have intent. You have specific intent crimes and general intent crimes. Fortunately for her, murder is a specific intent crime. So if she didn't intend to cause the death of the child, prosecutors better be looking at charging something else.
Well,
They said the baby was asphyxiated. That's a deliberate act.
if there's evidence, like let's say hypothetically there's evidence that she had talked to friends about a name for the baby, that would be really bad for her.
It would be bad for her. However,
Really bad.
you talking about the name for a baby doesn't mean
For
that when
the
you-
baby.
For the baby.
Yeah,
when
It
you got
doesn't
to the
matter.
hospital.
What matters is she put the baby in the trash can. She put plastic around the baby. It doesn't take a brilliant detective to realize she committed a murder.
What if the baby was dead when she put it in the trash?
Then she attempted to commit the murder.
Well, and that's the other thing, because they
You're
can get her
here
on something.
The whole hour.
They can get her on abusing a corpse. They can get her on everything.
That's what I just
I'm
said.
telling
All
The
right.
prosecutor needs to look at new charges.
And there you go. The hospital cannot make a confirmed diagnosis without confirming tests. And most of the tests that they believed she should have had because they thought she was pregnant, she wasn't allowing them to take. She is 19. She wasn't 14 or 15 where the parents make the decision. 19. And something that people are forgetting, where's the placenta? When you give birth, the placenta either comes out or it stays in. The hospital believes the placenta came out and she ripped it apart and flushed it down the toilet bowl. That's another act of hiding what happened. Even if you don't know how you got pregnant, yeah, it's a baby. You were in a hospital. You could have gotten help for the baby. She chose not to. Everything was her choices. But now she doesn't have to suffer the consequences. Screwed up world we live in.